is Elijah David, minister of the 12th Hour Apostolic Sabbatarian Congregation, Mount Zion for 12th Hour in the Liberty Hill, Texas. Today is August 19, 2013, or it's either 13, 2017. We will start our first service today with a song entitled Whiter Than Snow. I long to be perfectly whole, want thee forever to live in my soul. Break down every idol, cast out every foe. Now wash me and I shall be whiter than snow, whiter than snow. Yes, whiter than snow. Now wash me and I shall be whiter than snow. Joshua looked down from the throne in the sky, and help me to make the complete sacrifice. I give up myself and whatever I know. Now wash me and I shall be whiter than snow, whiter than snow. Yes, whiter than snow. Yes, wash me and I shall be whiter than snow. Joshua for this I most humbly entreat. Hallelujah, blessed Joshua in the crucified feet. But faith for my cleansing, I see the blood flow. Now wash me and I shall be whiter than snow, whiter than snow. Yes, whiter than snow. Now wash me and I shall be whiter than snow. Joshua, thou seest, I patiently wait. Come now and within me a new heart create. If those who have sought thee will never such know. Now wash me and I shall be whiter than snow, whiter than snow. Yes, whiter than snow. Now wash me and I shall be whiter than snow. Hello everyone, once again, this is Elijah David. We are going to continue our series, The Year of His Redeemed. We're entitled Greetings, Volume 1, number 43. We're on page 17, actually, 17. We're going to do a little review, but first we're going to read you a prayer thought from Zechariah chapter 12. For it is a very present truth today. This is exactly what's happening now in Egypt, in Cairo. Cairo is the example of and a leader out in wherever it takes place in the Middle East. And it looks like the Christian faction is coming back in and taken over from those Muslims, the Black Muslim Brotherhood, or call it the Muslim Brotherhood, which are direct descendants of Ishmael, and they hate everybody on planet Earth, including their own people. And so the warfare is on between good and evil, between the camp of Ishmael and the camp of Isaac. Now, Zechariah chapter 12 gives us an update exactly like reading a newspaper, like a newsletter. Breaking news today. Cairo is in total chaos and upheaval. Everybody's against everybody. Everybody's suspicious of each other. I mean, to tell you right now, the neighbor is suspicious of his next door neighbor. And they're sharing guns, and they are fighting each other, neighbor to neighbor. Alright? Why is this happening? Because, number one, the Muslim nations hate Israel. Well, that is the Islamic. When we say Islamic, we're talking about descendants of Ishmael. When you say Muslim, you might be talking about Christians that are compatible with Israel. Okay? So, that's what you have. Islamic against Muslim. Okay, now the Islamic don't like to be called Islamic, they like to be called the Muslim Brotherhood. But that is the same thing. Zechariah chapter 12 says, the burden of the word of the Yahweh for Israel, saith the Yahweh, which stretches forth the heavens and layeth the foundation of the earth and formeth the spirit of man within him. It says he formed the spirit of man within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about, when they shall be in the siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all the people. All that burden themselves with Jerusalem shall be cut into the pieces. So all the people of the earth be sinners together against it. Together against it. They have sentenced Israel. The whole world has sentenced Israel. In that day saith the Yahweh, I will smite every horse with the astonishment, and his rider with the madness, and I will open mine eyes upon the house of the Judah, and will smite every horse of the people with the blindness. And the governors of the Judah shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of the Jerusalem shall be my strength, in the Yeshua of the host, their Savior. In that day will I make the governors of the Judah like an hearth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire and a sheep, and they shall devour all the people round about, on the right hand and on the left, and Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. And I'm going to read that verse 6 again. In that day will I make the governors of Judah like an hearth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheep. And they shall devour all the people round about. Now what's happening? The Muslim Brotherhood is coming in there to try to circumvent and counter this scripture that I just read. They're warning that, and they've scattered out all over the world. They're right here in Texas. They're right here in Austin, Texas, where I live, area. They're coming in here by the millions every day. They're scattered out all over the world. And they have one intention. Anyone that don't step and believe like they do their radical religion, they're to be killed. The Catholics have sentenced everyone that won't believe like them to death. In that sense, we got this here Jesuit Pope in as a leader of the Catholic Church now. He sentenced all non-believers to death. The Muslim Brotherhood is with the Sharia law have sentenced all of the non-believers to death. Okay. And the Muslim Brotherhood is led by the President of the United States, the false prophet, in Revelation 19. Okay. And I want to point up something else. Now, when we say Islamic, we're saying the Muslim Brotherhood, because now they want to be called Muslim, because there is a Muslim faction, their brother, which is Christian. So when I say Christian, I'm talking about somebody that believes in Yahshua, the Messiah. Just like the Jews did, I guess. The Messianic Jews did. Okay? So, now, another thing. Whenever you see the United States backing a democratic process in these foreign lands and free elections, you're talking about democratic process talks about mob rule, 51% rule. 51% rule is communism. That's what you call mob rule. So all your Islamic world, you're communist. Okay? And that's what we have as a President of the United States, a communist. And we have most of your nation that supports the Catholic Church are communists. Catholics are communists. We got to recognize that new identity. All your dissidents, militants, all of your despisers of the law of Moses, the law of Yahweh, and the laws of Yahshua, okay, they are communist, socialists, they are dictators, they are murderers. Okay? So in that day will I make the governors of Judah like the heart of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire and a sword. And they shall devour all the people round about on the right hand and on the left, and Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. Now these governors of Judah are antitypical David's generals. They're his leaders of the 12 tribes of Israel. They're the leaders now of the 144,000. For the Yahshua also shall save the tents of Judah first, all the residents, inhabitants of Judah, of the tribe of Judah, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem, okay, those of Judah that lives in the capital of Jerusalem, do not magnify themselves against Judah. Okay. In that day shall the Yahshua defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem. It didn't say he's going to defend the inhabitants of the northern 10 tribes, necessarily. So he's going to defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Why? Because all of the saints, 144,000, are gathered at Jerusalem, the capital of Judea. And he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David, okay, and the house of the David shall be as the Yahweh, as the angel of the Yahweh before them. Now this angel of the Yahweh is Yahshua. So the house of David is going to be like the Father. Going to have the power of the Father. Going to have Yahshua there. Okay. And then you're going to have the purified leadership of antitypical Elijah, David, with the 144,000. This is a threefold union that you just can't break. It's impossible to defeat. This is what's going to defeat all these evil nations. So when it says Yahweh formed the spirit of man within him, okay, now all those Islamics over there, you got Muslim Brotherhood now, which are nothing but devils, infidels. They hate Yahweh. He can't form his spirit in them. Number one, they're born of the spirit, or they're born of the flesh. And they'll never be born of the spirit again, ever. So the spirit can't do nothing for them. In order to be saved, they have to be reborn. Have to be reborn of the spirit. So since they're born of the flesh and are not of the spirit, then Yahweh can't form his spirit in them. Now if they were to accept and be converted, he could. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of the grace and of the supplication, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. They shall mourn for him as one mourneth for his only son. They shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. In that day there shall be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as the mourning of the Hadad Rimmon in the valley of Megiddo. Or they say Megiddo. And the land shall mourn every family apart, the family of the house of David apart, and their wives apart, the family of the house of Nathan apart, and their wives apart, the family of the house of Levi apart, and their wives apart, the family of the Shimei apart, and their wives apart, all the families that remain, every family apart, and their wives apart. Now, look at Zechariah 13. Alright, now, it says, in that day, verse 1, there shall be a fountain open unto the house of David, unto the inhabitants of Jerusalem for sin and for uncleanness. Now, sin is a transgression of the law. Eating something that is harmful to your body is a defilement. It causes disease. And so, therefore, it is unclean to defile your body. That leads to disease and death. So now, it says, in that day, what day? The day that Jerusalem is in siege, being in siege by these communist, militant, Muslim Islamists, and all nations. In that day, at that time, and that's what we're in right now, we're in that day now, and we're in that year of his redeeming. Zechariah 13 says, in that day, and all nations, and all this is going on with the siege against Jerusalem, and all these nations burden themselves with it, okay, Yahweh is going to make Jerusalem a cup of trimming unto all the people round about, when they shall be in the siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem. Meaning Judah, the tribe of Judah, the whole land of Judah, which is the hill country there in the south, or more or less kind of in the middle of Israel, or it's in the south directly of Israel proper, the land of Israel. But the thing is, it says when these nations are all in siege against them, then there's going to be a fountain open for the house of David. Now this is amazing. Yahweh called me as an interpreter of David to head up his government, 2002. My wife and I had a product that Yahweh sent to us, and it's called the Black Salve, bloodroot. It's herbal formula, and an angel of Yahweh appeared unto a Jewish man and gave him this formula in a vision. And the Jewish man came out of the vision, and he went to the herbal encyclopedia, and he checked the formula, and there it was, what he'd seen in the dream. So therefore, he went and bought the product, put it all together, and then we met him one day, and he introduced that product to us. And he said, now, if anyone takes this product and put it together the way this formula says right here, then they can share it with anybody that wants it in the world. And he said, if anybody believes in it and takes and uses it, that it will heal them of all their diseases. So we believed it, and we took it and used it, and it healed us of our major problems. And so we started taking it to the world. All the health food stores, anybody that we could take it to. And so therefore, we have been now going on 15 years putting this product out all over the world. And we have many thousands of satisfied customers. And now, since then, we've added at least another 9 main products that will heal the body with our black sap. Now, that being so, and the last product we got was a organic clay. Now, what does it say that in Jeremiah 18:6? It says, Yahshua is the potter, and the house of Israel is the clay in his hand. Okay? So we have a 10th product added to our main line of products, and they're all powerful #1 products in the world. And people call with different problems, physical problems, ailments, diseases, where we have something for everything that's wrong with it. And by just believing it, we send it to them through the mail, and they take it, and the stuff heals them. Okay? So, to me, that would be a sign that the fountain has been opened for sin and uncleanness with the house of David, even as we speak. So, folks, this fountain was open, and we first were introduced to this product back in 1997. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize who I was until 2002. So about 5 years before I even realized that I was antitypical David, in the spirit called Elijah, Yahweh opened up the fountain for sin and uncleanness with Elijah, David, and his wife. Okay. So now it said, in that day there shall be a fountain open to the house of David. And so that day happens to be in the 12th day of Bozrah calendar, right here. Okay, so I started reading to you about Zechariah 12, and we're in the 12th hour, and so it said in that day, in the 12th hour, so it said, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Yahshua of the host, that I will cut off the names of the idols out of the land. Okay, now here it goes. We're in that time now. So what is he doing in Egypt today? Mubarak, the man that was president of Egypt for 30 years, that was a ally of Israel and was Christian, was ousted 2 years ago, 2 years ago, and he was sentenced to life in prison by this Muslim Brotherhood. Okay. And that sentence has now the President Morsi that took over from Mubarak, this Muslim Brotherhood president, this communist, infidel devil, that hates all mankind, even his own people, has now been ousted, and the Mubarak followers have thrown him out, and now they're going to release Mubarak from prison this week. Mubarak is 85 years old, and watch for him to be reinstated again as the premier of Egypt. When that happens, folks, then you'll have the scripture where it says Egypt escapes out of his hand, out of Satan's hand, and back into the hands of the right ones. And they shall no more be remembered, and also will cause the prophets and the unclean spirit to pass out of the land. So while this great ethnic cleansing is going on between the Islamics and their brothers to the Muslim. Okay. There are also false prophets in the land. There's false prophets right here in this land of spiritual Jerusalem, here in Texas. So, okay. So who is going to out these, the Spirit? It's going to be the Spirit. Yahweh forms in man. He's going to use that same powerful Spirit to drive out the false prophets, the unclean spirits, and the idols that's in the land. Walking, talking idols. Zechariah 13:3. And it shall come to pass that when any shall yet prophesy, then his father and his mother that beget him shall say unto him, Thou shalt not live, for thou speakest lies in the name of the Yahweh. And his father and his mother that beget him shall thrust him through when he prophesied. And it shall come to pass in that day that the prophet shall be ashamed every one of his vision when he hath prophesied. Neither shall they wear a rough garment to deceive. But he shall say, I am no prophet, I am an husbandman. For man taught me to keep cattle from my youth. And one shall say unto him, What are these wounds in thine hand? Then he shall answer, Those with which I was wounded in the house of my friends. Awake, O sword, against my shepherds, and against the man that is my fellow, said to Yahshua of hosts. Smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered. And I will turn mine hand upon the little ones. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Yahshua of 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and I will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, It is my people. They shall say, The Yahshua is my Savior. Okay. Now we know what Zechariah 14 has to do with. As a matter of fact, we're just going to go right on into Zechariah 14. It says, Behold, the day of the Yahweh cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. And I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into the captivity, and the rest of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Now, folks, this has already happened. You think about it. Ever since Israel was forced to divide the city with the east from the west, and give the east to the Arabs. Okay? Well, the Arabs have come in there, and they are just slowly, like invading termites. They have gone into the west sector as well. And they're invading the west, trying to take over the whole city. Okay? This has already happened. It says in Zechariah 14:3, Then shall the Yahshua, now this is the Son in charge, go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle. Well, how's Yahshua going to fight? He's going to use his battle axe. That's prophesied there in Jeremiah 51. He's going to use him as his battle axe. And we'll turn to it and just read that. He said that Yahshua is going to go forth and fight against him because he's the commander-in-chief of this army, invisible. So his spirit is leading antithetical Elijah. Okay. So it says in Jeremiah 51, it says verse 19, The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. Okay. The Yahshua of the host is his name. Did I say Yeshua the host? The branch, actually, I should say the branch is his name because the branch come out of the rod. And the rod is the inheritance of Jacob. So meaning Jacob's 12 sons, 144,000 a day, has the authority then to execute Yahweh's government, with Yeshua the branch has the power and their invisible leader that is orchestrating the success of it. It says in Jeremiah 51:20, thou art not battle axe and weapons of the war, for with thee will I break in pieces the nation, and with thee will I destroy a kingdom. And with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. With thee also will I break in pieces man and woman, and with thee will I break in pieces old and young, and with thee will I break in pieces young man and a maid. I will also break in pieces with thee the shepherd and his flock, and with thee will I break in pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen, and with thee will I break in pieces captains and rulers. And I will render unto Babylon, okay, now here we're dealing with Babylon, and to all the inhabitants of the Chaldea, all the evil that they have done in Zion. Now, God's here in Texas. This here Babylon is Washington, D.C. That's their headquarters. And that president of Washington, D.C. Is the president of Babylon. Okay. And it's represented by that woman riding on the beast. Okay. So now, he says, I will render unto Babylon and unto all the inhabitants of Chaldea. Now, the inhabitants of Chaldea is in Washington, D.C. They're the ones that are the governing body for this beast, and that this mystery Babylon is controlling and ruling over from the White House in Washington, D.C. And the UN in New York. Okay, so now he's going to render unto Babylon. In order to do that, then it looks like the whole 10 square miles of Washington, D.C. is going to be destroyed. Okay. And all those that works for the federal government there, and all your political people, are going to all be destroyed. And all the evil that they have done in Zion, in your sight, said the Yeshua. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain. Okay, what mountain is that? That's that mountain of Babylon, said the Yeshua, which destroyeth all the earth. And the earth encompasses the United States. So where is Babylon's headquarters at? Washington, D.C. So what's going on right now? With this black Muslim Brotherhood that's the president, that's seen himself as also the commanding general of the Black Muslim Brotherhood, that he is financing and supporting over there in Cairo, Egypt today. And so whenever that Black Muslim Brotherhood got thrown out again and defeated and are being massacred everywhere, it also shows the beginning of the defeat of this mystery Babylon that's ruling this beast. This is now the decline of this beast. Okay. Now I'm going to read to you now from Daniel a prophecy on that. Daniel chapter 7. And who brings this decline of the beast? Who is the one that actually brings the decline of this beast? In Daniel 7, you're going to find out something here. We're going to start reading about verse 13. It says that I saw in the night vision, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds and of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days. The Ancient of Days now, guess what? He came to the most recent leadership that has been appointed over Israel, over the house of David, the lawgiver. He came to the Ancient of Days. Why do I say that? Because in judgment study at the house of Yahweh 2002 at Cometh, Texas, it says it started with the ancient men before the house. And who was the ancient men before the house? Brother W. Johnson and Elijah David was the two main ancient men before the house that came under the first judgment. 1 Peter 4:17. It closes out the judgment for the dead and it starts the judgment of the living. I had the message to close out the judgment for the dead. I delivered it to Brother W. Johnson. He rejected it. That's what closed out him, and the judgment of the dead was closed out as well. I came through the judgment because of virtue of the fact that I had the delivering message to close out the dead and to start the judgment of the living. Okay. So, it says you start the judgment at the house of Yahweh, 1 Peter 4:17, and Ezekiel 9:6 said you start with the ancient men before the house. Okay. I had to be in on that judgment because I'd been with him for 33 years, and I had made a record. Otis had made a record. Whole Gilead Center had made a record for 33 years. It had to be dealt with. It had to be judged. It had to be some kind of ruling pastime because we were starting the judgment of the living when we have the Day of Atonement every year. Every year. We had it every year since 1970. It availed Gilead Center nothing. It availed them nothing because they refused to follow the spirit of the law. They only followed the letter of the law, which condemneth and killeth. So it says that the Ancient of Days. It started with the Ancient of Days. So now here it says in the prophecies, Daniel 7:13, this is Yahshua coming to the threshold of the house in 2010, and he came to the Ancient of Days. Ancient of what days? Of these last days. And no doubt, Yahweh the Father sits upon the throne, and the Yahweh the Father is here also. Sitting upon the judgment throne at the atonement of 2002. So here we had the leading, latest men that were leading the church, leaders of the church, the prophet, and the one that Yeshua had appointed me. And now we had to be judged as the ancient men before the house. But Alan DeLong was also one of those ancient men before the house with us down there in 2002. My wife was also one of those ancient persons before the house because she was co-laborer with me. Okay? So now, but what I'm saying is, it says Yahshua came, and he came to the Ancient of Days. He came before the Father. He came and stood before the Father, which is your Ancient of Days, meaning that he is without no beginning. He's the most ancient one in the universe. He's Yahweh the Father. Okay. That's a double application, folks. And he brought him here before him. And Daniel 7:14 it says, and there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom that all nations and languages should serve him. Okay. For his dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. Okay. Daniel was grieved, Daniel was grieved in my spirit, in the midst of my body. And the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. Verily the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and ever. And ever, even forever and ever. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others. Okay, you know what that fourth beast is? That's that leopard-like beast. No, that's that nondescript beast that represented pagan Rome at the cross, that represented imperial Rome. When I say pagan Rome, imperial Rome, I mean that they don't have any Christianity at all. They have no religion at all. They're infidel, atheists. They'd be the same thing as communists today. Okay? Which are diverse from all the others. They'd be the same thing as the descendants of Ishmael. Islamists, born of the flesh, never to be born of the spirit. Okay? Then I'd know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceedingly dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of the brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue of his feet. And of the 10 horns that were on his head, let's get the chart over here. Let's get that chart pulled up there, if I can hurriedly find it. Okay. Okay, let us repeat this here. It says, Daniel says that I would know, verse 19, then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, right here, this fourth beast, right at the top, which was diverse from all the others. He was diverse from the leopard, the bear, and the lion. Exceedingly dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, so his teeth was of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. Okay. He devoured, broke in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. The residue was the apostles. That fell away in the first century. He didn't destroy them, he just stamped them down, trampled them down. And it says in Daniel 7:20, and of the 10 horns that were on his head, okay, 10 horns right here, representing that he was in charge of all nations. And of the other which came up and before him, 3 fell. Okay, here it is right here. The second page of this beast right here, 538 to 1798. This little horned power came up representing the mouth speaking great things, representing the Pope, which is a spokesman for this beast, which represents the one world order of the Catholic Church. Okay. So it says, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. I beheld, and the same horn, right here, the Pope, declared war with the saints. Okay. So he declared war on the saints, and at 538 AD, he started the 1260-year prophecy of decimating the world and leading the world into the Dark Ages, causing the Christians to go underground, and he hunted many of them down over the next 1260 years, and he murdered probably close to 200 million, who knows, I know it's over 100 million, and he made war with the saints, okay, and he prevailed against them. Yeah, he did. For 1260 years until 1798, right here. To 1798, right here. Actually, 1798, right here, there's this little 200 beast when the United States came up. Okay. And 1798 represent at the time that we had elected our first president of the United States, George Washington, to start the constitutional government of this great republic, this great nation, which was called the Great Republic, the United States. So remember, the United States had its beginning lamb-like, Christian-like, and it's called the Great Republic. Now it's called Mystery Babylon. That's what's happening. Okay. It says, Daniel says that he beheld in this vision. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against him. Until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given unto the saints of the Most High. What judgment is it? The judgment of the living, starting 2002. When the house of David took and replaced the old guard at Gilead Center in Kearney, Texas, 2002. That's when the judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. Okay. The house of David was given to them. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Now it says, now the time came. Well, that time came in 2002. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth. Fourth kingdom. Set up here in 31 AD. Imperial Rome. This beast has changed its looks a little bit down through until the end, but look here. Here again he appears. He looks just like this first beast, which is the fourth kingdom. So his fourth kingdom has been now ruling for 2,000 years. Imperial Rome, ecclesiastical Rome, leopard-like beast Rome, two-horned beast Rome, represents the United States government. And then here you have the scarlet colored beast, Revelation 17, Rome. Nothing changes, folks, except just a little time changes, different operations for different reasons. Thus, he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. And now what I read to you in verse 22, until the Ancient of Days came. He said, then it said, I beheld that fourth beast, right here, until the Ancient of Days came in 2002. Then it said, I saw it clear up to 2002. Until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given unto the saints Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. That's all the further that Daniel was able to see up to. He saw up to the 144,000 being sealed, joining as representing the governors of the everlasting kingdom of heaven and on earth, sitting upon the thrones, and in the throne room of antitypical David's everlasting kingdom, was Yahshua sitting there as the one in the center, sitting upon the center throne as the judge. And now, as a judge that has come to execute vengeance upon his people. And now the time came, and then what was the reason? What was these saints supposed to do now that time has come? In verse 26, he says, "But the judges shall sit." Okay, so the judges sit in 2002. So it's the judgment of living at the atonement, and they shall take away his dominion. First dominion that was taken away when the judgment set was the seventh dominion that you see on your prophetic chart here. And I'll try to turn it right quick. The 24-hour periodic time clock says the judgment was set. Okay. And then the house of David was put in charge of Yahweh's government. And so now, at the same time, Yahshua was there, and he took away his dominion. First, he took away the seventh dominion, which is the Adventist Church, and her reign for 158 years, from 1844 to 2003. She reigned in the seventh dominion. Now, here in the 12th hour, you have the eighth dominion, and the eighth order, and so forth. House of David is in charge now of this 12th periodic hour, which is your eighth dominion. Okay, Edom had the first dominion at the beginning. 8 means that we have arrived back to the Edenic time period again. 8 simply means we start all over again with the first dominion. So, who was the first one then? They said to the ancient days came and judgment was given unto the saints of the Most High. Okay. So, and in verse 26 it says, but the judge shall sit and they shall take away his dominion. Well, you got also the Catholic Church was also reigning in this seventh dominion. They had taken over the Adventist Church here in the seventh dominion. So now, at the time that Elijah David is given and Yeshua at the helm, it's taken away the dominion of the Adventist Church, the Catholic Church, taking away his dominion, to consume and destroy it until the end. And the kingdom and the dominion and the greatness of the kingdom of the whole heaven shall be given unto the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom. Okay. So now, the dominion then of this beast that I was showing you a while ago, this fourth beast, this dominion is taken away. So anyway, you saw it. Okay, so now it says, and the kingdom and the dominion and the greatness of the kingdom of the whole heaven shall be given unto people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Now, folks, we don't have but a few more minutes left on this study. It looks like about 7 or 8 more minutes all total. And so it would only be fitting in to go ahead and just make a little review here. Let's read Daniel 2, 44 and 45, and then make a little statement up on our main study here about the year of his redeemed, and then we'll do a full course on that on our next study. Of time of reading volume 1 number 43, we'll finish that one out. But Daniel 2, let's just read 34 and 35. And 44 and 45. It says that thou sawest tell that a stone was cut out without the hands. So what did David beheld that beast? Up to the time that stone was cut out of the mountain without hands and struck the image on the beast. Daniel 2, 34. Thou sawest tell that a stone was cut out without the hand, which smote the image upon his feet, and that were of iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the shaft of a summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away, that no place is found for them. And the stone that smote the image on the feet, this was this little stone right here, if I could hurry to turn to it. I'm having a hard time with my charts. Okay. So it says, in the stone that struck the image on the feet became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. Okay, so that great mountain is that brass mountain that we showed you earlier in the study of Zechariah 6. It's 2 mountains. They're mountains of brass. Okay, now in Daniel 2, 44 and 45, it says, and in the days of these kings shall the Elohim of the heavens set up their kingdom. Okay, the days of those 10 kings represents all the communist nations of the world that have been their power to that beast, one hour. And in the days of these kings shall the Elohim of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left unto other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain, right here. Okay, this is an Adventist mountain that's in the 7th dominion. And now keep in mind, this is Laodicea, the 7th church of the 7th. We're dealing with all 7s here. So when this stone came out of this mountain, this dominion of number 7 that was controlled by the Adventist church and the Catholics, that beast. So actually this is the same thing as that beast. This is the same thing as that mountain getting cleaned off. And this little stone is hewn out. So Daniel saw that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it break in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay. Clay represents the house of Israel. The silver and the gold. The great Elohim hath made known unto the king which shall come to pass hereafter. and the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. Okay. Now, folks, it don't get much better than this for an update on where we're at today. But we're going to close now with a reading from Isaiah 63, 7 to 10. But I will mention the loving kindnesses of the Yeshua and the praises of the Yeshua according to all that the Yeshua has bestowed on us, and the great goodness toward the house of Israel, which he hath bestowed on them according unto his mercy and according unto the multitude of his loving kindnesses. For he said, surely they are my people. Okay. It says, children that will not lie. So he was their Savior. And all their affliction he was afflicted, and the angel of his presence saved them. Okay, the angel of his presence would be the prophet in charge of the candlestick. In his love and in his pity he redeemed them, and he bare them and carried them all the days of old. But they rebelled and vexed his Holy Spirit. Therefore he was turned to be their enemy, and he fought against them. Okay. So it says the testimony of this person reveals that a complete transformation has taken place in him. That he has caught a vision of the Yeshua's goodness, of his loving long-suffering, and of his tender mercies. He is convinced that the Yeshua will not acquit the guilty from his testimony. He also seen that the Yeshua is not a cruel, brutish person seeking to kill and to destroy, but that he is kind and merciful, patient and just, that he is worthy to be praised. This person endeavors to prove this to others by calling attention unto the Yeshua's dealings with his ancient people, showing that he bare along with them, that only for their own good did he punish them to bring them back unto him and away from the idolatry and eternal ruin. Moreover, the scripture plainly shows that the need of the deliverance today is similar to that of Moses' day. This brings a close. Let's study this hour. You can contact us at the 11th hour call, and that's number 11. Keep on all your archives. We're going to close this service now with a song entitled Have Thine Own Way, y'all. Have thine own way, Yeshua. Have thine own way. Thou art the potter, I am the clay. Mold me and make me after thy will. I am waiting, yielded and still. Have thine own way, Yeshua. Have thine own way. Search me and try me, Master, today. Whiter than snow, young, wash me just now, as in thy presence.